Hey guys, welcome to the channel if you're new. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. Special thanks to all of my patrons. My name's Neil, and it's time for another episode of Chernobyl. I just finished watching the first episode, guys, and man, is it dark and depressing and futile and frustrating and just a gut punch of an episode, and I don't think it's going to let up at all. I think this episode is going to be just as terrible, if not worse, and I don't think it's going to let up for the entire 5-episode run. I feel like this is just going to be compound disaster after compound disaster. It's just not going to go away. I'm hoping that there will be moments of heroism, and we've certainly already seen moments of resigned bravery, I think is maybe the best way to put it. The men in the plant at the time of the explosion of the core, some of them did things that they knew they would not, that they would die from, and die quickly and die painfully from. But perhaps they knew that they were already dead, that they were already so close to the initial explosion that there's no point in delaying the inevitable, and the least they could do is maybe minimize the effect. Maybe. I don't know enough about nuclear power plants to know whether opening those valves, flooding the idea is if the core is intact, you just need to keep it from overheating. That's my understanding. And so you have to continually pump it full of water, which is what they were talking about doing. But that was when the guy in charge felt that it was just the control tank that exploded. I'm not sure that flooding the area where the core used to be with water is going to do anything. Or whether, I mean, is that just a fool's errand, or is it a suicide mission with a good cause at the root of it? You know, the fact that what was revealed to be graphite, the stuff that looked like it was enclosing these hollow cylinders. So I'm guessing that's where the fuel rods themselves were, in these graphite chambers. You saw chunks of those scattered around the perimeter. That's what the one fireman picked up, and like minutes later his hand was a bloody mess from radiation burns. And just all the dust in the air, which just feels like you're just breathing in pure radiation. It's a nightmare scenario. So you almost get why the Soviet hierarchy is just going, no. They don't want to hear it. They want to pretend that it's not as bad, and that they did everything they were supposed to do for a much less severe situation. But they've all just got their heads buried in the sand like a bunch of ostriches, ignoring the true scope of the situation. So, man, kids are still going to school. The town has not been told anything about how terrible this situation is. Communication with the rest of Russia and the outside world has been shut off. They're basically locking down the town of Pripyat, and I don't see how this gets better. I don't know enough about the original story to remember reading these details in the news at the time. I was 12, and while I was aware of it, I didn't do a deep dive. So, episode 2, we might as well jump into it and deal with some really dark subject matter. This one, ominously, is entitled Please Remain Calm. Does anyone speak Russian out there? Does Chernobyl mean something? I know Cherno is black. But what does Chernobyl mean?
По русским обычаям нас пули с тобою пока еще бьют.
Belarus. Interesting. So we're not in Moscow, and we're we're north of the Ukraine. We're beyond the Ukraine.
Where is everyone? Oh, they refused to come in.
Why?
It's Saturday.
Do they know?
8 millirontgen. Leak?
No. For it's coming from outside.
The Americans?
Oh, the contamination's already spread that far. I think Chernobyl's in the north of the Ukraine, close to Belarus, so maybe this isn't too far away, but still.
ID 131.
Reactor fuel.
Who's the next closest?
It's Chernobyl, but that's not possible. They're 400 kilometers away.
Oh, that's too far for 8 millirontgen. They'd have to be split open.
Which
Maybe
is what
know
they
something.
are. Call them.
Something
No
with a
answer at
space
Chernobyl.
program, like a satellite or...
No one's answering the phone.
Oh my god. Well, this is just going to be horrifying, isn't it?
What are you doing?
These are radiation burns. Their clothes are contaminated. Get it all off.
Oh. Already, oh my god. Everything you touch is contaminated and will kill you. Are they saying that the core exploded? Or has he spotted some? Are they still spreading lies? Oh, the camera work, the audio work, the soundtrack, it's all just puts us in a daze right along with him.
Thank you all
Wow.
for your duty to this commission. We will begin with Deputy
Gorbachev's
Chairman
there.
Chervina's briefing.
That's definitely
and then
Gorbachev,
we will
right? Because of the
discuss
birthmark.
next steps.
In terms of radiation, Plant Director Bricano reports no more than 3.6 Rontgen.
Okay, so they're still going with them.
Equivalent of a chest X-ray.
Well, it seems like it's well in hand. So if there is nothing else, meeting adjourned.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. A chunk of smooth black mineral on the ground outside the reactor building. Smooth black mineral. Graphite. There's graphite on the ground. If there's graphite on the ground outside, it means it wasn't a control system tank that exploded. It was the reactor core. It's open.
So, Legasov, there's no place for alarmist hysteria.
It's not alarmist if it's a fact.
Well, I don't hear any facts at all.
Please, may I express my concern respectfully as a...
Professor Legasov.
Boris, I will allow it.
Okay.
Winds will carry radioactive particles across the entire continent. 3 million, billion, trillion bullets in the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat.
This concern stems entirely from the description of a rock.
Yes.
Yes.
You take a look at the reactor, you personally, and you report directly back to me.
Wise decision, Comrade General Secretary.
And take Professor Legasov with you.
I wonder how many of these figures are historically accurate and how many of them are somewhat fictionalized to tell the story better.
Tell me how a nuclear reactor works, or I'll have one of these soldiers throw you out of the helicopter.
Well, this guy's an asshole, but okay. Her husband, do we even know if he's still alive?
Please, 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 please.
Oh, they were the ones on the bridge, weren't they?
He's being transported by helicopter to Moscow.
When are they taking him?
Now.
Why are they being... I guess there's a better hospital in Moscow, but there's nothing closer than that for Chernobyl? Not in Kiev or anything? Okay. Kiev or Minsk feel like they'd be closer, but...
What have they done? Look, that's graphite on the roof. The whole building's been blown open.
Why, we can't see, we don't know. Get us directly over the building.
Boris,
Don't use
if we
my
fly
name.
directly over,
I know
the
don't see
reactor
your
will be
advice.
dead within a week. Dead!
Get us over that building, or I'll have you shot.
I don't want to be over something
Fly
that...
directly over that core. I promise you by tomorrow morning you'll be begging for that bullet.
I like that they've the look of the film, like the picture quality itself isn't hyper sharp. It feels it's better than 1986 television, but it's not 4K either. It's a little bit degraded. It's a little bit aged.
This is why no one likes scientists. When there isn't a problem, they're everywhere, spreading fear.
I know about Chernobyl. If you don't immediately issue iodine tablets and then evacuate the city, hundreds of thousands of people are going to get cancer, and God knows how many more will die.
Yes, very good.
I prefer my opinion to yours.
I'm a nuclear physicist. You worked in a shoe factory.
To the workers of the world.
Interesting doing that shot from close up on her feet, walking away.
Stable iodine. Take one a day for as long as they last. And go east. Get as far from Minsk as you can.
Minsk, still 400 kilometers away. Jeez.
We'll tell them the truth in the simplest terms possible. We'll be fine. As you can see, we are making excellent progress in containing the damage. And I have a list of individuals who we believe are accountable.
Here's the people you should blame. Can at least the chief engineer talk to the scientist guy and like get some real answers here?
Professor Legasov, I understand you've been saying dangerous things. It's disgraceful. Really. To spread disinformation at a time like this.
Why did I see graphite on the roof? Graphite is only found in the core, where it's used as a neutron flux moderator. Correct?
That's not possible. Perhaps you saw burnt concrete.
No, there you made a mistake. You think Legasov is wrong? How shall we prove it?
Man, this show's just so freaking intense. Yeah, it's all about self-preservation right now. First thing they do is give them a list of names of people to blame. The workers in the plant. But the buck stops below me. So have they at least evacuated the immediate area? Oh man. Before I got any closer, I'd want to just sort of see what the rating's at, like, I don't know, at the gate. You know, if it's already like 100 times higher than 3.6, that's enough to know you're hooped, right?
He's back.
Have they decontaminated them? Do they have like decontamination tanks and stuff? Okay, that's good at least.
It's not through Röntgen. It's 15,000.
15,000.
Means the fire we're watching with our own eyes is giving off nearly twice the radiation released by the bomb in Hiroshima. And that's every single hour. So 40 bombs worth by now, 48 more tomorrow, and it will not stop. Not in a week, not in a month. It will burn and spread its poison until the entire continent is dead.
Which way are the... I feel like the prevailing winds would be blowing it east, but maybe I'm wrong. The jet stream blows west to east in temperate zones.
How do we put it out? You are dealing with something that has never occurred on this planet before. At least evacuate Pripyat. It's 3 kilometers away.
That's my decision to make.
Then make it.
I've been told not to.
Is it or is it not your decision?
I'm in charge here.
15,000. Jeez. I feel like a lot of these buildings are pretty faithful replicas of buildings in Pripyat.
Are you here because of the fire? Anything we should be worried about?
Don't cause panic.
No.
Oh, geez, animals already? I can't even imagine, like,
go one by one in rotation.
what pilot would want to fly close to that?
About the perimeter.
How are you going to get any of that into the fire if you can't
Too
fly?
close.
They can't get over the fire. How are they
The
supposed
wind will have to carry it. They cannot go over the core.
Lead 1 is too close. I repeat, they are too close.
Oh, he's screwed. Screwed. Whoa. Did it damage the chopper itself that quickly?
Is there any other way, Legazo? Send the next one in.
Jesus. I think ultimately they ended up just encasing the thing in concrete. Am I wrong? I guess we'll get to that solution eventually.
Well, he's a medical doctor. If he says it's safe, it's safe.
Not if they stay here.
We're staying here.
Yes, we are. And we'll be dead in 5 years.
Jesus is dark, man.
A nuclear plant in Sweden has detected radiation. The Americans took satellite photos.
The world knows.
The world knows. Not letting children play outside. In Frankfurt.
They're just not doing anything for public safety, are they? Oh, are they starting to evacuate? Are all these buses going into Pripyat? Wow. In come the armored trucks, in come the buses, and the evacuation begins. And no one's ever going to come back. Whatever things look like this day, in this moment, that's how they still look today. So they didn't evacuate until the world found out. That's basically what it took. No pets. No pets. Interesting that this is the first time they really did. I'm not sure if it's Russian or Ukrainian, but no subtitles.
Turn around right now or I'll arrest you.
If you arrest me, you should take me to the highest possible authority. You don't have a month, you have approximately 2 days. Yes, the fuel would take a month to reach the concrete pad here. It's going to burn through the biological shield here by Tuesday. And when it does, it's going to hit these tanks.
Пострадавшим оказывается помощь. Создана правительственная комиссия.
That looked like real news footage from 1980s Russia.
Our power comes from the perception of our power. Do you understand the damage this has done? Do you understand what's at stake?
3 years later, the Berlin Wall was down, Gorbachev was gone, and Yeltsin was the first president.
The uranium will melt the sand, creating a kind of lava which will begin to melt down through the shield below.
You've made lava.
Yes.
When the lava enters these tanks, it will instantly superheat and vaporize approximately 7,000 cubic meters of water, causing a significant thermal explosion. 2 and 4 megatons. Everything within a 30-kilometer radius will be completely destroyed. The entirety of the radioactive material in all of the cores will be ejected at force, approximately 200 kilometers, and likely be fatal to the entire population of Kiev, as well as a portion of Minsk.
For Belarusia and the Ukraine, impact means completely uninhabitable for a minimum of 100 years.
And they're the breadbasket of the Soviet Union. So no more wheat
and
for
how long
Russia.
before this happens?
2 days.
Approximately 48 to 72 hours. We may have a solution. We need to find 3 plant workers who know the facility well enough to enter the basement here, get to the sluice gate valve here, and give us the access we need to pump out the tanks.
They'll likely be dead in a week.
We're asking for your permission to kill 3 men.
To save 60 million.
Comrade Legasov, all victories inevitably come at a cost.
I like at least my frustration of last episode is gone because they're facing the facts clearly now. Like, they're brutal facts, but at least they're not ignoring them. They're trying to come up with a solution. This is what I find most amazing about the idea of visiting Chernobyl, is it was abandoned like that within minutes. nothing, like everything was just dropped. It's, you know, like just frozen in time. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these sort of tableaus that we're seeing right now are based on what's there today.
The valve will be difficult to operate, so we'll need 3 men. And of course, any volunteers will be rewarded. A yearly stipend of 400 rubles.
400 doesn't sound like a lot.
You want us to swim underneath a burning reactor? Do you even know how contaminated it is? Why should we do this? For what, 400 rubles?
You'll do it because it must be done. Because nobody else can. And if you don't, millions will die. 1,000 years of sacrifice in our veins. And every generation must know its own suffering. Go into that water. Because it must be done.
That man's voice is the most dramatic gravel. Oh. So frickin' powerful.
On an ankle.
Where's Parlov? Baranov.
I'm glad we're getting to see some heroism here. There's 2 places where this brutalist architecture is so prevalent. One in Soviet-era Russia, and 2 in Vancouver, because one of the world's great brutalist architects is a man named Arthur Erickson from here. So, our law courts, one of our big universities, our Museum of Anthropology, they all have this, like, brutalist concrete aesthetic. Jeez. Such a measured suicide mission. Like, on the night of the accident, at least it was kind of like just acting in the heat of the moment. But now it's like, I'm deciding to go back in. God. And here you go. I mean, why do you even need a Geiger counter at this point, right? Like, you know it's terrible. The ticking of the Geiger counter is just driving me nuts. I don't need to know how crazy bad it is. Any of you play Fallout? I play Fallout, and it's bad enough there when it's just a frickin' video game. Yeah, like what's the point? It's off the charts, and it's just getting worse. Oh jeez. Don't panic, guys. Just go quickly. Be efficient. Oh god. Yeah, it's fucking with your electronics. They have to be successful, right? Hurry. Oh. Does radiation do that? Does it fuck up batteries? You are trapped. Oh. Oh my god. Oh. Oh, what a nightmare of an ending. Oh. Gross, horrible. Just, what a nightmare. The sound design in that final scene just tears you apart. As you know exactly what it means, and it's just getting faster and faster and faster, and you know you're just dying quicker and quicker and quicker. And then your lamps go out, and you're stuck in the pitch black in the water. And even if you went in and out, you'd be dead in a matter of days. But now you're just gonna die because it's a maze down there. What a nightmare. And yet, I know that there wasn't a 2 to 4 megaton blast a few days after the explosion at the reactor, and therefore, if this itself wasn't successful, a subsequent attempt at the same thing must have been. But I sure don't have any hope for these 3 guys right here, because that, like, how do you survive that? I don't know. And how, like, you don't just survive. You have to complete the mission. Here's what I'm grateful for. My frustration from the first episode is greatly alleviated. And you know, the initial instinct of the entire power structure of the energy board and the local committee and the whole Soviet structure was to deny and ignore. They just didn't want to deal with the reality, so they pretended it was something lesser. And at least we're past that stage now. And I don't care for what reason. I don't care that it's because the Swedes detected it in one of their plants, or the Americans had satellite photos, or whatever. The fact is now at least the Soviets are acting appropriately. They're taking the concerns seriously. They're listening to the scientists. They evacuated the town. They should have evacuated the town 36 hours earlier, but they evacuated the town. But man, oh man, what a crazy scenario. I don't know. I think the way it was reported in the West back in the 80s when it happened, I feel like I didn't fully appreciate the extreme severity of the situation. Because I'm too young to remember 3 Mile Island, but I remember learning about 3 Mile Island, which was a nuclear meltdown at a power plant in New York State, I believe, in the late 70s. I don't know the exact details, but I remember learning about it. And it was I'm pretty sure it was a nuclear meltdown, but it was contained, and it, while significant, I don't think it caused a great amount of death or anything like that. It was sort of like, okay, disaster, yes, fixed, we're good. That was sort of the takeaway. So I think when Chernobyl first happened, that was how a lot of people looked at it. They're like, oh my God, it's another 3 Mile Island. A bad thing, but it'll be contained and we'll get past it. Now, I wonder how much information the Soviets were sharing with the rest of the world. Obviously, they acknowledged that it happened, but they may not have said the core exploded. You know, so maybe we weren't being told that in the West right away. Maybe it took a while for that to come out. Maybe we didn't find out about it until well after the fact. I don't know. I'm hypothesizing. I was 12 at the time. Now, it's bizarre. Like, I'm genuinely nervous and concerned on how they're going to prevent this insane explosion from happening that's going to, you know, destroy Kiev and kill half the people in Minsk and make Ukraine and Belarus uninhabitable. Like, folks, Ukraine is as big as France. Like, we're talking massive area. I'm looking at my world map right now. Maybe it's even bigger than France. It's huge. And it's just wheat fields. It's like the breadbasket of the Soviet Union. It's like, you kill that food supply, you kill the Soviet Union, you kill Russia. I genuinely wonder how direct, like, if I was a political scientist, has anyone done sort of research on how directly did Chernobyl lead to the downfall of Gorbachev, the fall of the Berlin Wall, perestroika, the modernization of, well, the fall of the Soviet Union, and, you know, all the former Soviet republics breaking away, becoming independent nations, the formation of the new Russia. You know, was this a key moment in that whole sequence? I know Reagan and Gorbachev had some intense political debate and cooperation. Like they were central figures in that entire in the dissolution of the USSR. But I wonder if moments of weakness, perceived weakness, like Chernobyl, really were a significant part of that. I think it was Gorbachev that said it in this episode. We are powerful because of our perceived power. People have to perceive us as powerful, our perceived strength. And if we appear weak, then we lose our power. Appearance is everything in politics. I'm glad the scientists are the heroes in this. At least they seem to be right now. They seem to be the ones driving the action. But I didn't get the character name, but the guy that's played by like the hulked out Bill Murray with the insane gravel voice, who is, you know, in the general I'm trying to remember all my old Soviet terminology. In the General Committee, the one that was sent by Gorbachev to Chernobyl, the speech he gave the plant workers to get the 3 volunteers, like powerful stuff. You know, great monologue, but like so hauntingly delivered. We do it because we must. I need 3 of you to die so that we can save tens of millions. That's a huge ask, and yet there are men who would make that sacrifice. There are absolutely men who would do that, who see the greater good, who would serve their country. And I'm not just talking about Soviets, or I'm talking in any nation. Some people are willing to make that level of sacrifice, which I think is maybe not a uniquely human trait, but it seems to go against the biological imperative. But the fact that we can process that it's better that my species goes on than that my genes go on, that matters. That's interesting, and it's noble. I like that. I was worried after the first episode that the entire Soviet power structure would be painted in an entirely negative light. Just because I feel like in a situation like this, maybe not everything, like it's too easy to point fingers. We see characters relying on that impulse right away. Here's a list of people who are responsible, and it would be a shame if the show did the same thing. So I like that they're exploring the complexity of the situation. What I am curious about is how accurate it all is. Are some of these characters fictional in the sense that they are representative of groups that were involved in the discussions at the time, or are all the characters at the table real people who were there? It certainly feels authentic, but it's always hard to know for sure. And so I asked the question, and I hope that one of you knows the answer. I'd love to hear details. I'd love to hear. I love when there's some of you out there who are so good at giving me tons of detail about the veracity of the history that's being portrayed, behind the scenes of the production. The more like I'm a sponge for this stuff, so throw it all on me. I remember somebody, I can't remember for what reaction it was or who they were, but somebody wrote, I think it was about my Titanic reaction, which unfortunately is down right now for most of you guys. Copyright, man, it's a pain in the butt. But somebody wrote like a 300 or 400 or 500 word essay on certain historical facts about the whole Titanic thing. And then they apologized at the end for taking up too much of my time. It's like, are you kidding me? Thank you. I love this stuff. So don't ever if you want to tell me something, if you want to share information with me, please share it. I love that stuff. If you want to see more stuff like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. It lets me know that this is the kind of stuff that you guys really do want to see and want to see me react to. Thank you for your time today, guys. It means the world that you took a few minutes to spend some time with me. I'm happy to have you visit here on Neil Talks, and I hope you come back soon. So until then, take care, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.